I hate when my husband works late. Being at home, alone at night, hearing every little creak. It's uncomfortable. I thought I was just being paranoid. Then my girlfriend said she felt the same way when her husband travels. Until they had what she calls their Vivint talk. Vivint, my friend calls it the best home security system out there. It's super easy to use and fit right into our budget. And I love my video cameras. I can see what's going on in and around my home right from my computer or smartphone. It's actually kind of funny. I told my husband, if you're going to be traveling or working late, I'm getting Vivint. And it's made all the difference.
Call now. Not only is installation free, you'll get up to $1,500 worth of Vivint security cameras and equipment today at no charge. Seriously, $1,500. Just pay as little as $99 for activation. Call 877-776-3430. 877-776-3430. 877-776-3430. Restrictions apply. 48 or 60-month agreement and minimum $49.99 per month required. Not available in Louisiana. See Vivint.com for license numbers.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to my show. It's Friday, the 17th of October, and I'm your host, Brianna Bellaros, award-winning author and best-selling author, Fire and Ice, Ashes and Ice, The Saga, and The Journey of Transformation. October is a domestic violence awareness month, and my guest today is here to share her story of dealing with domestic violence and the book she recently published on Amazon, with the title 5 to 1, A Story of Surviving and Overcoming Domestic Abuse. Her name is Elizabeth Hecht, and she's here today to tell us her story and what happened to her. So, hi, Elizabeth Hecht. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for coming to the show and sharing your story with us today. I think it will help a lot of women. Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. So tell us about yourself and why did you write your book?
I'm 37 years old, and I met the man that I was in an abusive relationship with in 1997. And right as I was ending a marriage, we got married too young, so the marriage was ending, and I met this man. And I was in a relationship with him until November of 2009, and it was abusive, not immediately, but about 6 months into the relationship. And there were little signs and things that happened, the anger and pushing me down and things like that before he actually hit me. So what I wanted to do was share my story with women and men and just anybody that is either in an abusive relationship or knows somebody that's in an abusive relationship. I think the biggest question that I've been asked when I share my story is, why did you stay? And I think that's the biggest question on a lot of people's minds. So what my book is about is just my story from the beginning to the end, and it's, of course, not every single story that happened to me, but main key points, things I remember, things that in my many, many times of looking back over the relationship since I got out of it, things that stick out in my mind as, why didn't I see that? Why did I stay here? What was on my mind here? So it's my story through my eyes, how I felt, when he told me things like, my parents didn't love me, and how my friends were making fun of me behind my back, and how I felt about him. I thought he was just this great guy, so smart and so talented, and and just really had him on a pedestal. So I automatically started taking his side. And just the little things that he said from the beginning and the little things that he would say to me that would make me feel like more close to him. Like it was him and I against the world, and without him I would be nothing. So I know that a lot of women go through the same thing, I felt sorry for him. I wanted to protect him. Everything he led me to believe was my fault that it happened, and I started to believe it. I started to believe that I was not worth loving. I started to believe that without him I would have nothing. I started to believe that, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I said that, or I can't believe that I did that. And it would be little things and things that sometimes I didn't even say or do, but it would just set him off. So, I wanted to specifically write this book so that a woman sitting in an abusive, shelter, that first few hours after they get you in and after you're sitting there, your mind's racing, you're thinking, I know because I've been there. My mind was racing. I was, thinking about him and feeling sorry for him, and I had all of this time to sit and think about poor James, and not really think about not feeling alone. I felt like I was the only one there that was going through what I was going through, even though I was surrounded by women going through equal things, and I went back, and if I had stayed out of it, it would have saved so much heartache and so much pain. And if I just would have taken that chance to be there and to allow the shelter to work for me and to obtain my goals and to move on from that point forward, it would have saved a year of heartache. And so I want to give women sitting in abusive shelters, that token of time, that little bit of time, so they can read my words and not feel alone, and hopefully feel inspired to stay away and to not go back, and to be endowed with the knowledge that it's not my fault. I didn't cause this. I cannot save them. I cannot do anything. There's nothing in my realm of ability that I can make them a better person and make this stop, because it's them. It's not you.
Yeah, that's true. Oftentimes women think they're the one who actually provoke this kind of behavior, and they just get caught up in this kind of drama, and they feel the guilt because women are so giving. They dedicate their life. They want to help. They want to do everything what they can possibly do, and they just don't have time to think that what they're doing actually it's not what they're supposed to do. They should take care for themselves. And my question for you is, do you think you triggered this kind of behavior because in the beginning you said he was a really nice person, very sweet, very loving. He gave you so much attention. He made you feel so pretty, so wanted, just made you feel like a princess. What do you think happened?
I think that it's one of those things where they put their best face forward. I mean, do I feel like I triggered anything? No, I don't. He had that capability before he met me. He had that in him before he met me. It was not my choice. It was not something that I did to provoke it. It was something that he felt he needed to do to feel more like a man, or, maybe in his thought to try to help in his way. I don't know exactly what was going on in his mind, but it was his choice to hit me. It was his choice to beat me. It was his choice to belittle me. It was not mine. If you have a chocolate sundae and you choose to share that with somebody, that's your choice. When someone hits you, that's not your choice. And the only choice that you have at that point is whether you want to stay there and get hit, or you want to leave and not have to have that fear anymore. So do I feel like it's a trigger? that I triggered it, that I did something to trigger it. No, I didn't. I'll never forget what happened when the first time he actually hit me. And my mom and I were taking care of an elderly lady, and our 13-year-old son, our grandson, would come home on the school bus, and then my mom and I were able to leave because he would stay there with his grandmother. And one day the school bus got there about 20 minutes early. They had an early day, and my mom and I got off about 20 minutes early, and, I was really excited. I didn't have to work that extra 20 minutes. I got off early, and I came home, and I walked in, and I didn't see him at first, and then I saw him, and then I was, so excited. Hey, I got off early, and her grandson came home, he's 13, so he got out of school early, and and I was excited, and the next thing, I walked into the kitchen, and the next thing I knew, I was hitting the floor. And the trigger for him was that I was having sex with he said, I was not, but he said, oh, so you've been having sex with him this entire time, so he's been getting home at this time every day, so you've just been having sex with him for 20 minutes. No, no, I wasn't. No, no. And then when he threw me out the door, and I was bleeding, and I was sitting with my back against the door, I wasn't thinking about running away. They say you have fight or flight. I didn't feel like fighting him back. I didn't feel like running away. The most important thing for me at that moment was getting back into the door. So I think the only thing that I did to trigger the continuation was by staying there, was by trying to get back in, was by crying and telling him I was so sorry, I didn't mean to do anything wrong, and then I was accepting responsibility for something that was not my responsibility. So as far as a trigger, I think that's the only thing that re-triggered it over and over and over again, because now he knows, okay, well, she's going to stay. I can do anything that I want, and she's going to cry and beat on the door and beg to stay. So then there was no limitations, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I cried and begged for forgiveness and asked him to stay, and it just continued. That was the continuous cycle.
Can you tell us how long this had been going on before you decided to leave him?
It started in probably right around November, December of 2008. I'm sorry, November, December of 1997. And it continued until November of 2008. And so about 12 years, 11, 12 years.
Wow, that's a long time. I'm asking you this question because of my next question. What made you leave him? When you're beaten, when you're put down, when you feel like you don't have anything left, either you die inside and you give up, and I think that's where a lot of abused women commit suicide, or just become a shell of a human being, or something triggers inside of you. And I think that something triggered inside of me, and I left him for 6 months during that time, and I went back to him. And I'm sorry, I just completely forgot the question. I'm sorry. That's okay.
Okay. Why did I leave? I started thinking about how I could kill him. I had my son, and I was able to keep that child. I had 3 children before that were placed for adoption because I was told that the state would take them anyways. Nobody would allow me to have my children. If I didn't choose the home, for them, then they would, then they would be put in foster homes, and I'd still never get to see them. And it was what was best for them. And I was workless, and I'd never be a good mother. And and he would leave me. And anyways, so I had my son, and he threatened to take my son's life. After all of this, everything I was going through, I was trying to wait for that perfect time when I could kill him and just completely end the relationship. and I'm not an aggressive person.